videos for Experts Exchange and received 40 Expert Exchange awards over the last 11 years working with the Expert Exchange community. I am currently the overall #1 point earner in the Hall of Fame. I am honoured to have been accepted into the VMware vExpert program since 2011, and I'm currently a VMware vExpert Pro for the last 4 years.
Welcome back to another Hancock's VMware half hour. So in the next 30 minutes or less, we're going to discuss, and I'm going to show you how to update VMware vSphere vCenter Server 8. Now, in the last couple of days, and you may have noticed, it's been published here in Security Week, that a critical code execution vulnerability was found in VMware vCenter Server, both in version 8 and version 7. And the CVEs are listed there. And I'll put this article in the description. And I'll also put this link in the description as well, which is VMSA 2024-12. The questions and answers. So on June the 17th, 2024, VMware released a critical security advisory and patch for 7.0 and 8.0 of VMware vCenter Server. And I think this takes us up to something like, if I just go back to this one, I think this takes us up to 8.0 U2D Delta. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to very quickly upgrade your vCenter Server 8 to that particular version. And I'm going to do it in a slightly different way today. In the past, if you've done updates before to your VMware vCenter Server, you would go to the value interface, which basically is the FQDN with a 5480 port on the end, and you would select update. You would sit there waiting basically for the version to appear, and you basically click and you drive the update through the VAMI interface. But in the last couple of updates of VMware vCenter Server, we can now basically do this from within VMware vCenter Server interface and Lifecycle Manager. So this is what we're going to do today. I've previously created a video on how to use the vCenter Server 7.03 appliance management interface to back up the database, because you will need to do that in advance. So if I just go back to my backup here, you can see that I already have a backup of my VMware vCenter Server database. And it's important really that you actually basically create that as a schedule and just have that sitting there ticking over in the background, backing up your database to a FTP site or an FTP server or an NFS share export. So you've actually got a backup of your vCenter Server database should you need to be able to want to recover and restore your vCenter Server. The other thing that I'm going to do, and I always do, is I'm just going to take a snapshot of VMware vCenter Server. I'm not going to include memory before, I just call it before. And this allows me, should the update go wrong, I can revert and I can apply that update. So traditionally, we would go here and we would wait for it to basically find the version that we require, click select, but I'm going to drive it this way. So you may notice if you log into VMware vCenter Server, you're probably going to get this blue banner. I find it really, really annoying. This blue banner across the top that basically turns around and says that you have updates. You can click manage updates there, or you can actually basically go to we call it the root of our hierarchy, and we can click update. So I'm currently on build 205.19528. So I'm going to click update. And this is the thing that's changed slightly in the last couple of versions of VMware vCenter Server. So I'm going to select the target version and I'm going to wait. Okay, so 13th of 6, 2024, 8.02.00400, build 239.29136, update bug. So I'm going to click that's the version, the bug fix version which addresses this particular critical code execution. Probably might need to put this on pause because it's going to sit there. But anyway, whilst it's Twinkies moving around, you can actually basically see here that it's actually prompting you and basically saying the appropriate backup is required. You're going to have to prepare the source, prepare the target, and then we're going to update to the new version. My apologies, I was a bit late getting to this one because I had somebody knocking at my door wanting to buy some honey. Did I actually basically tell you that I sell honey and I keep bees? Anyway, I'm going to hit pause on this because you don't want to sit here listening to me and watching this Twinkie go round forever. And as you can see, my voice is disappearing and dying as I've got some sort of lurgy. So I will be back shortly. So we're back, and this refreshing of the screen when I put it on pause is actually really going to cause possible problems. No, okay. I've also got another problem here as well, that the Bluetooth module on this desktop just seems to be not very stable. So every now and again it crashes and restarts. Okay, so let's just recap. We actually select the target version, which is what was released a few days ago on the 17th, which is 239.29136. We then need to basically do a product interoperability check. This is a bit flaky because when I just did this, it actually basically came up and turned around and told me that my ESXi servers were unknown. Here we go. Here, please provide product VMware vSphere hypervisor ESXi is unknown. Please provide valid product name. And it's got an exclamation mark, and it just basically turns around and says VMware vSphere ESXi brackets 2, current version 8.0.2, no compatible version, not available. I've no idea what that's all about. So I'm just going to click next anyway. So we've got a nice big tick next to the version that we're going to update to. Appropriate backup is required. It would be nice actually really if in this portion here, it would actually basically trigger that backup, which is already configured. So if I just actually basically go here, you can see this just going back to what I said previously. This was the old mechanism that we would actually basically do this. And it would pick the same version for us, and we would drive the update using VAMI if we actually basically just sorted. Okay, so June 17th, 2024, June 13th, 2024, just looking here, 8.02.00400, June 13th, 2024, 8.80.1, June 17th, 2024. That doesn't make a lot of sense. 8.2, 8.02, 8.02, 8.01. Oh, okay. This is obviously basically just fetching all the update versions from that we can actually basically apply. And as we're currently on 8.0.0.1000, we could actually go to 8.0.1, or we could go to 8.0.2, 0.04.00. Are you following that? So let's just go back to where we were. So we're actually going to update to the 8.02.004.00, which is the latest available version of vCenter server that's available, 8.0.2. So, sorry, I was actually getting confused. It must be the cold. So we already have a backup. So we satisfy the conditions here. Yes, I have a backup, followed by next. So it's now basically telling me the vCenter server plugin needs to be updated. Okay. So I'm just going to click update plugin. Well, actually basically find that when we've updated the plugin, it's just going to basically sort of kind of reset. We're going to have to go back to the beginning. Okay. So whilst that's doing, I want to put it on pause, but I know that pauses actually interferes with the browser. So, So several days later, they say that this is the vCenter Reduced Downtime version. Well, we've not actually had any downtime yet, but it has taken us a while. I'm beginning to wonder whether or not that there's something going on the back end. When I mean the back end, I mean the internet. The vCenter server is actually pulling files and things, and I'm wondering whether or not that VMware or Broadcom are changing things, because after many hours yesterday, I could not get the plugin downloaded at all. And I also noticed that there were some very strange things going on when I actually basically used the VAMI interface, remember. I couldn't even get this list. And I was actually having a little look at the appliance logs on vCenter server and trying to make out what the hell was going on. It looked like it was actually basically fetching the information that was being fetched was not there. So I'm a little bit suspicious. The fact that it couldn't pull this list yesterday evening and early morning, the fact that it couldn't pull this list from the internet, and the fact that it couldn't actually basically pull the plugin as well, I suspected that there was maybe something a little bit more going on the internet here that was causing these problems yesterday. So that's what we'll blame it on. We'll blame it on the internet. We'll blame it on VMware, Broadcom, website, merger, whatever. Anyway, so having a little fettle around now, we seem to be in a position whereby we can sort of kind of carry on what I was trying to talk about yesterday, which was we're actually going to use the vCenter server minimized downtime upgrade, which just in summary and performs a very, very similar upgrade to a vCenter 7 to a vCenter 8 migration. Basically, it deploys a new vCenter server. Then it copies the configuration across, and then it does a switchover, which, if you do a normal VAMI upgrade, you will find basically it downloads a 5 or 7 gig patch, applies it to vCenter server, and whilst that's all happening, your vCenter server is down. And I know it certainly causes me issues when I'm having to do these changes. You know, the reason that we're actually basically doing this, I've got my notes here, is based on this link here that I'm going to put in the description, which was about a critical update that was actually basically found a couple of days ago, which has caused VMware to issue 3 patches for 7.0 and 8.0. They've issued an 8.0 U2D, which is this one we're going to do now. They've also issued a patch for 8.0 U1E and also 7.0 U3R. And these are actually quite important CVEs, and so I'll put these in the description as well. So anyway, so you can do updates in various different ways. You can click this horrible blue banner that's always appearing at the top. You click View Updates, or you can go to the summary and you can click Updates Available here, and it will actually take you to the upgrade. Now, you may notice, and I think I mentioned this before, and I'm just checking to see here that I've got my mic on, the camera's on, it's recording, because I said I've been struggling with this for days. So we've already updated the plugin. You can see that here, current version, because you can only actually basically use the reduced downtime upgrade using the current version plugin. One of the other prerequisites is that you need to have available the actual ISO for your vCenter server that you want to upgrade to as well. So that, not the patch version, not the upgrade version, you need the full 10 gig version. So I've already downloaded the 10 gig version. That's on a data store. So we need to connect that to our virtual machine. So I'm just going to click Edit Settings. It feels like I've been doing this for days, trying to get this working. Data store ISO. It's on our NFS. So I'm going to select it there, followed by OK. by connected. And as you may have noticed when you start watching this video, I started with a cold, flu, bug, lurgy. It's not actually COVID I tested today. It's not tested positive at the moment anyway, but I must admit, I do feel like crap. Probably not enough coffee, not enough Red Bull. I don't know, not enough Pepsi Max. Anyway, so that's connected, followed by OK. So let's go back to our upgrade. And you may have actually noticed as well that because this new plugin's loaded, it's also changed slightly. The GUI's changed slightly. So basically it's saying that mount the ISO, backup required. What I'm going to do, I'm going to snapshot this virtual machine. Because what I want to do, I want to roll this back later, and then I want to apply the VAMI update. And we'll sort of kind of, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the stopwatch now. I also have to keep an eye on the time clock. Stopwatch. There we go. So that's started. But as I said, if I actually basically started this stopwatch back when I started this, it would have taken us days to do this. Okay, so I'm going to go back and say updates available. There's one other thing I want to do as well. I also want to back up my I also want to get a backup as well. Some places. So got a snapshot in place. I've got a backup of my vCenter server. And in the previous video, or one of the videos I've done, I've actually basically showed you the benefit of why we use the backup, because we can actually basically use the ISO media to actually basically do a restoration. So that backup's happening. We've got a snapshot in place. The ISO is mounted. So let's just say next. We have an appropriate backup in place. Our plugin is already, the recommended version I think about plugin is already support the process. So I can click next on that. Configure the target appliance. So I'm just going to select accept. Yeah, I'll join the customer improvement program. Deploy in the same location as the source. Yes, please. So this is very, very similar that you would have seen if you've actually deployed vCenter server before. So we're just doing exactly the same thing. So I'm going to say yes. Virtual machine name. This is the virtual machine name that will be the new inventory name. So I'm going to call it VMware vCenter Server 8.0 U2D. So this is our inventory name that's going to appear here. This is our temporary password for it. The reason it's temporary is because eventually the configuration information from our current vCenter server, VMware vCenter Server 8A, is going to be copied into this new vCenter server, which will become our current vCenter server. Are you sort of kind of following? So I'm going to follow by next. It wants us to give a temporary IP address, so I'm basically just going to say 192.168.182.139. I know that's not in use. There's not really any point, basically, in using an FQDN because it's a throwaway FQDN, really, to be honest with you. because this is just going to be used to copy one, 1, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 8, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. This is just going to be used to stage our new vCenter server, which is going to become our production vCenter server once our current vCenter server configuration has been copied to it. When the switchover occurs, followed by next. I think that got all that right there. 1 or 2. Okay, so finish. I'm going to do next. It's now basically waiting for the upgrade to occur. So I suppose realistically, the clock gets started really when we do the switchover, because we're not actually affecting production yet. This can be all done in the background, and then you can come later on and basically just turn around and say start upgrade. So I'm going to do start upgrade, preparing the upgrade task created. And you will actually basically start to see here where it actually basically creates a new VMware vCenter server 8.0 U2D, which is effectively a fresh deployment of vCenter server. And then the configuration base is going to be copied over from the current vCenter server to the new vCenter server that's being deployed. And then it's going to do a switchover between the two. And that switchover is going to be the quick change that's used. So while that's occurring, I'm just going to let you watch that, and we'll speed this up in post. I'll come back when we do the switchover. So I will be back shortly. I'm back. Okay, so after a while, the prepare upgrade has finished. It took about 40 minutes. So I think it's about the same sort of time really that you'd expect a VMware vCenter Server 8 to be deployed. I actually put the stopwatch on, looking at my looking at my phone, coming up to 46 hours ago. That's how long it's actually basically taken me to get back to this. Again, as you can probably see, I'm still suffering with the lurgy. I've had a few days of downtime, but needs must. I have actually been out with the bees, and I've been out with the bees, not working the bees this morning, trying to avoid getting stung. They hate my petrol mower, and I've actually been around the apiary, just tidying up. It's not my land, so I didn't really want to upset the landowner, the landlord. So I've just been tidying up, going around the hives of the big Honda petrol mower, and they don't like petrol mower. Defensive, aggressive, don't know. Take your pick. But anyway, so back to the video. You don't want to hear me talk about bees. This upgrade, of course, has not actually basically at this moment affected the downtime, hence why VMware call this the Reduced Downtime Upgrade. So just to summarize, we've now got 2 VMware vCenter servers actually basically in our inventory. And I suppose you can only probably really do this if you've got the resources to do it. You know, if you're short of memory, if you're short of CPU, and you're short of storage space, then you're not going to be able to do this, because you're not going to be able to deploy a second vCenter server. But as you can see now, the VMware vCenter Server 8A, this is our original GA version that we deployed, the one that in fact actually that we're using at the moment. And then VMware vCenter Server 8.0 U2D is the freshly deployed, we'll call it the Virgin vCenter server that's got no configuration at the moment. And if we just actually inspect the configuration, you can see at the moment it's got called localhost with the IP address of 192.168.182.139. I can currently ping vCenter 8A, which is 138, and just to show that I can also basically ping 182.139 as well. There we go. So we'll just keep pinging that. So this is where the magic happens, the switchover. So realistically, let's just stop that 46 hours, and let's actually just time how long a switchover takes, because this is the amount of downtime that you're actually basically going to suffer in production. And I know that it does actually basically cause me some issues with a few clients when I'm doing vCenter server upgrades for them, because I've got to arrange downtime, I've got to schedule downtime, and I think we probably often allow sort of kind of 2 hours of downtime, and we do actually basically like to do it out of hours, out of production hours. But sometimes when we get these critical updates through, which are above CVE scores, CSS scores of 7, some of our clients actually basically have procedures in place as far as cybersecurity, insurance, etc., that actually basically states that, you know, if a CSS score is 9 or higher, then it has to be applied immediately, and a CSS score of 7 and higher, or 7 and above, has to be applied within 2 weeks. So sometimes when these critical updates basically appear from VMware, we have to act on them, you know, immediately. And, you know, trying to find 2 hours of downtime, you know, in the day, you know, to do these, you know, can be troublesome. So without further ado, let's hit the switchover button and see what happens. So start, and I'm going to do switchover. So now the switchover is actually in progress, and we will actually basically, as I say, I've started the stopwatch, and we'll see how long this takes. And I'm pretty sure that this is probably going to be far quicker than doing an upgrade with VAMI, but we'll test that as well for shits and giggles. I'm going to basically go away and have a well-earned Pepsi Max. Other soft drinks are available, and I'll speed all this up in the post, and then I'll come back and summarise what we've done. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so by my reckoning, that was 10 minutes. I did notice throughout watching those pings, there was one timeout, and I wondered if that's when it did the switcheroonie. And I think this technology really is similar to vCenter HA in the way that vCenter HA works. So I wouldn't be at all surprised, apologies, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they've taken some of that tech out of the vCenter HA, and this is how they've created the reduced downtime version. So please provide login credentials. I'm assuming that it wants the login credentials of our vCenter server. So let's just try that, and it doesn't want them. Please provide login credentials. I'm assuming, we're currently vCenter view equals standalone UI. Okay. Now it's saying connection timed out. Open the vSphere client. So that's open the vSphere client. Let's launch the vSphere client. That's vCenter Lifecycle Management. Okay, so I wonder whether or not that it actually does a switchover, and then we've got to wait for all the services to start up. Which, we're maybe likely to see no healthy upstream, or web client is initializing, or 503. It says the switchover is complete, and we've got a reply from our vCenter server 8A, and that's obviously basically fetching something from vCenter server 8A. So I think maybe we've just got to be a little bit more patient. It's just so okay. So there's a switchover, and then there's a start the service. Apologies, it's either smoke or my bad chest. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're now going to have to wait for the time for all the the services to start up as well now. So that could be another 5, 10 or 15 minutes. So we're getting there, because we had no healthy upstream, which is normally what we would see. Now we're just getting the web vSphere client is initializing. So, okay, this is looking better. We've got a little blue Twinkie. Okay, I'll disappear and wait for a proper login to occur. Okay, so this time, can we actually basically log in? He waits with bated breath. Okay, looks like our reduced downtime upgrade to vCenter server 8.0 U2D has been completed successfully. So, okay, 10 to 15 minutes worth of downtime. Okay, so we've got lots of plugins being deployed. Been completed. Let's have a little look at the summary. Graphics has changed somewhat. If you look, the build's changed. The graphics has changed here. 239.29136. And there's not showing any updates anymore. So host memory usage, virtual machine usage, all completely normal, really, to be honest with you. In our lab environment. And that does actually basically, I'm quite surprised actually, because I would have thought maybe that it would have turned off VMware vCenter server, the old version now. And yes, it has actually basically swapped the IP addresses around. So the IP address 39, that was the IP address of this, is given. So it is actually basically using, I think, the underlying technology, which is vCenter HA, is what's being used here to do a reduced downtime upgrade. So if you had any problems with this version, then you could probably go back to this version quite easily by just changing the IP address or changing the FQDN. So, okay, what have we done in this video, which has taken a very, very long time, and we've got lots of sections to piece together because we've had lots of issues along the way. Predominantly, I suspect, with the back-end internet, VMware providing updates and bits and bobs which have been up or down or changed or something or other. But anyway, so we've taken a GA version of VMware vCenter Server, and we have used the reduced downtime upgrade method to upgrade vCenter Server 8A, GA, to 8.0 U2D. And if you noticed in the background there, VMware vCenter Server 8A was automatically shut down there. I'm not quite sure whether or not that it's actually going to delete it, or whether or not it's just going to leave it off. So that's all I wanted to show you in this particular video, is how we can use the reduced vCenter Server upgrade, reduced downtime version. I'll put these CVE notices in the description, and come back for the next video where we're going to do a traditional VAMI upgrade. And if you've done a VAMI upgrade before, it definitely takes longer than 10 minutes. Because it shuts down all the services and then it downloads, shuts down all the services, applies, and then restarts. So you're in for a much longer downtime of vCenter Server than 10 minutes. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'm going to carry on and drink my Pepsi Max. I'm waiting for a new strimmer to arrive today, and then back to bees to string around those hives. But no bee work today. That's probably going to be tomorrow now. Anyway, so once again, thanks so much for watching these videos, and come back soon. Bye-bye now.